In this video, we're going to take a look at the comments made by Shaykh Adnan Rashid about corruption in the Bible. This is something else I picked up from watching the debate between Shaykh Rashid and Pastor Boshoff, where they debate the canon of the New Testament, linked down below in the description. In it, Shaykh Adnan makes a very bold claim on behalf of Islam. Let's have a listen to what he had to say.
I must mention here that our view on the Bible as a whole is that the Bible contains the truth, it contains fables, it contains dubious information, it contains outright lies and myths. So the Bible is a collection of correct information, authentic information that may have come from God originally, and it also contains other information that cannot possibly be from God. So this is our view on the Bible. Now, do we need the New Testament and the Old Testament to believe in God and worship Him? Absolutely not. We don't need the Old Testament and the New Testament, okay? Because those books, as far as the Quran is concerned, have been changed.
So there we have it. In the opinion of Shaykh Rashid, the Bible has been corrupted. But wait, Shaykh has a problem here. He's a man who believes the Quran, believes it's God's word, that it's trustworthy, inerrant. And the Quran doesn't have the same opinion that he has. The Quran speaks of the Bible in many places. It speaks of the Torah, which is the books of Moses, 18 times. It speaks of the Injil, which is the Gospel, 12 times. And it speaks of the Zabur, 5 times. Let's have a look at the Quran to see what it has to say about the scriptures. For the sake of brevity, I'm not going to go through every single verse that we find in the Quran on the subject of the Bible. But if you feel that I've missed out an important verse or two, or maybe I'm deliberately avoiding reading a verse or two, and you want to discuss or comment on any of that, then please feel free to comment below, and I shall have a look at those at a later stage. So let's get on with it. So Surah 3 verse 3 says this: He has revealed to you, O Prophet, the book in truth, confirming what came before it, as he revealed the Torah and the Gospel. So it's fairly straightforward. I don't think that needs a lot of comments. Let's have a look at the next reading. So this one's from Surah 5, 43 and 44. But why do they come to you for judgment when they already have the Torah containing Allah's judgment? Then they turn away after all. They are not true believers. Indeed, we have revealed the Torah containing guidance and light, by which the prophets who submitted themselves to Allah made judgments for Jews. So too did the rabbis and the scholars judge according to Allah's book, from which they were entrusted and of which they were made keepers. So do not fear the people, fear me, nor trade my revelations for the fleeting gain. And those who do not judge by what Allah has revealed are truly the disbelievers. So the context of these two verses is that you've got to read the previous verses, I think from about 40 verse 41, and you might want to do that. And it's speaking of the Jews coming to Muhammad for judgment and asking him to make a judgment on certain cases. So there's a little bit of conversation on that subject, and then it goes on to say, but why do they come to you for judgment when they already have the Torah containing Allah's judgment, and then they turn away after all anyway? Okay, so having heard the word, they then reject it. But the clear message there is they already have wisdom from God, they already have God's judgment, God's law, so why don't they use that? So noting that there's no suggestion, no hint that there's anything wrong with the Torah, that there's any reason why you would not use it to make a judgment, and that they do need to come to Muhammad. In fact, it's saying the opposite. And then it goes on to say, we've revealed the Torah because it contains guidance and light, and it says that the prophets who submitted themselves to Allah made judgments for Jews. So they used the Torah to make the judgments, and then it goes and says that so did the rabbis and the scholars as well. So again, quite relevant that it's saying there that you can trust the Torah to make a judgment. They don't need to come to Muhammad. Let's have a look at the next verse. So this time, reading Surah 350, we get this. And I will confirm the Torah revealed before me and legalize some of what has been forbidden to you. I have come to you with a sign from your Lord, so be mindful of Allah and obey me. So again, all that Muhammad is saying is that the Torah has been revealed before him from God, from Allah, and the only difference here is he's suggesting that some of the things that were illegal before are now being legalized. So moving on to the next verse. So this time reading from Surah 9:111. Allah has indeed purchased from the believers their lives and wealth in exchange for paradise. They fight in the cause of Allah and kill or are killed. This is a true promise binding on him in the Torah, the Gospel and the Quran, and whose promise is truer than Allah's. So rejoice in the exchange you have made with him. That is truly the ultimate triumph. So a very interesting verse, this one. Not only is it putting the Torah, the Gospel and the Quran together on par with each other, it's saying that there's a true promise in them about paradise. So, and it goes on to say, and whose promise is truer than Allah's. So it's a true promise from Allah. So in other words, it's maintaining the integrity of the Torah and the Gospel along with the Quran, according to this verse. So moving on to the next verse. And I read this verse for completion because this is a verse that refers to the Zabur. So this is from Surah 4 verse 163 and says, Indeed, we have sent revelation to you, O Prophet, as we sent revelation to Noah and the prophets after him. We also sent revelation to Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob and his descendants, as well as Jesus, Job, Jonah, Aaron and Solomon. And to David we gave the Psalms. And that's really the relevant verse there. And to David we gave the Psalms, or the Zabur. As we can see from those readings, in no place anywhere does the Quran tell us that the Bible has been corrupted. It doesn't even hint at it. Now, if it had been corrupted, if it had been changed since it was first written, then why doesn't Muhammad warn us? Why do we have those readings where he advises us to use the Torah, for example, as a guide from God, to turn to the Torah for wisdom? Surely Muhammad would have said, but be careful because there's corruption there, or don't take too much notice because there's a lot of corruption there. He doesn't give any warning whatsoever. He makes the assumption that it's all perfect, and then he speaks in those terms. If it was wrong, then surely Muhammad would have warned his followers that it was dangerous. The other thing I have to say as well is that Rashid's comments are actually an insult to God Almighty. What he is saying is that God is unable to protect his word, not just once but twice, so the Old Testament and the New. And it's only when the Quran came along, his third time, that they managed to get it right. Now, what is this saying about God? It's saying that he's weak, that he didn't see it coming, he didn't know that people would corrupt his word, he was unable to protect it, and then suddenly he can protect it. So I find his comments extremely insulting towards God. And the same goes for any apologist who says anything similar, that says that the Bible has been corrupted. When they say that, they're insulting God. And what was it Rashid said? He said this. He said, "The Bible is full of fables, dubious information, lies and myths."
Those books, as far as the Quran is concerned, have been changed. Those books, as far as the Quran is concerned, have been changed.
Dear Muslim friends, I have to ask you this question. Who are you going to believe? Are you going to believe Rashid or are you going to believe the Quran? Make your choice. And on that bombshell, I'd just like to say thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was useful. Any comments you want to make, please place them down below. And until next time, may God bless you.